They gon' love me for my ambition. Easy to dream a dream, though it's harder to live it. They gon' love me for my ambition.
This is a trade that we took on the Usdcad. Now let's starting on the weekly time frame, doing top-down analysis, diving deep into the market nature. Top-down analysis means starting from higher time frame to the lower time frame. The market nature tells us that we had this impulse leg to the downside, then while moving to the impulse, you can see the impulse is not as impulsive as the other one, but still it's still an impulse on the weekly time frame, and on the daily could be less impulsive, but it's an impulse on the weekly time frame. And then we had this correction going all the way to the upside. That's the correction we had. So from impulse, remember we had impulse, correction, impulse, right? That's how the market nature move. So we're expecting an impulse to the downside, especially exactly after that correction. We're expecting that this forms a flag, a bearish flag, which is a continuation pattern to the downside. So we've been expecting sales on this one for a very long time. So you could see, but instead it impulsed up. It impulsed up and broke above our flag to the upside. Here we're gonna look left and compare the previous price action with the current price action. Remember, market nature repeats itself. You can see here we had an impulse, then we had a correction to the upside. We did not show any progression to the upside, besides having a bit of an impulse before actually going to the downside. We had this as a whole correction to the downside. So the same thing is happening here again. We're having this type of impulse, that's just two candlestick impulse. Clearly on the week, on the daily time frame, you could see it. It makes sense on the daily time frame that, you know, this just few momentum to the upside, now showing the whole lot of movement to the downside. We were expecting a three-touch structure today to form our double top, which is in line with the ascending pattern, to show that we're actually going to the downside. Let me use the replay tool to show you exactly what we expected before that pattern actually formed. So this is what we expected actually before that pattern, the whole pattern formed. What we were expecting that this going to give us a touch. This was a high probability trade. Remember, high probability trade, it means that if it occurs, it has high probability, that it has high likelihood that the trade is going to be a good trade. So but there's still possibilities in the market, and we follow what the market gives us. We don't tell the market what to do. So we waited for the market to give us an impulse, then we had this correction, which still confirm our move to the downside. We now dive deep into the 4-hour time frame. Then this is multi time frame analysis. As you can see, it's very clear on the 4-hour time frame what the market is really showing us. As you can see, let me show you here inside. We're forming pattern within pattern. This is an ascending channel within a pattern to confirm our move to the downside. And if you can see clearly into the structure, before that impulse correction impulse, we had a double top onto that pattern. This is a high confirmation that the pattern is really going to the downside. This is what we call market confluence. This is what happened on the market. As you can see, we had that impulse, then we had that correction there, we missed the move there, then we had this big impulse to the downside, but we still knew we had a chance to take an entry on the trade. So we knew that it's a possibility that we are still going to have other entries before we reach actually to the downside. And if you use the traffic light system, which is the red zone, the amber zone, and the green zone, you can see we're still in the amber zone, which means we're expecting bigger patterns to the downside. So I'm going to dive deeper into the pattern and show you how I actually took the trade. By let me use the bar replay to show you where exactly and how I took this trade. This is exactly how we taken the trade. Let me remove this so that it can be clear for you to see. So what happened here, let me put this red line here on top, because we hadn't had a clear structure, so we marked the lows and the highs of a structure before having a clear structure. So what we were expecting a flag to the downside, which is a bearish flag that shows a 1 2 3 structure, which is a high probable trade, but we knew there's still possibilities in the market. Remember, we don't tell the market what to do, we follow what the market gives us. So let me remove this. So what we had here, as you can see, using the multi-touch of the structure, you could see we had a pennant, sort of a pennant. This is what we had, and it's clearly having more than 2 touches. We're going for a third touch of that pennant, so we're waiting for further confirmation, which means we were going to use candlestick as further confirmation before actually taking the trade. Then, as you can see there, we had a bearish engulfing. Let me zoom in so you could see the candlesticks very clearly. What we had here, as you can see, we had a bearish engulfing, then that triggers us in. That's where we actually took our trade in. That's where we actually took a trade, and we've managed the trade accordingly. We haven't moved any stop loss at that moment. We're just waiting for the market, and we knew there was still another possibility in the market, that the market could just give us this before actually going to the downside and form even a bigger pattern. We were okay with the possibility. Sometimes you have to make peace with the possibility that the market can do whatever the market wants, right? So we saw that the market didn't actually break above, it just formed aligned with our structure where we took the trade and didn't take us out. So we adjusted the structure, we adjusted the trend lines of that pattern, and when we move further, you can see we've been moving up and down the market. We've been patiently waiting for the trade, and we scalped the trade in and out to that low. That's where we put our take profit, because we were scalping to it. We got 4.23% I think on this trade, and then it hit our take profit. That's when we closed the profit yesterday, and that's when I made this video. So what happened here, as you can see, the reason we put our take profit, we knew there was a possibility that the market could actually go higher again before actually coming to the downside. So it was a risk to leave our trade open like that. So we took profit, and thank you for tuning in to Ambitious Trader.
They gon' love me for my ambition. Easy to dream a dream, though it's harder to live it.